and welcome to Used Car Heaven, the programme where we give you the chance to try out the group of cars that you want to buy into. Plus, we'll have used car buying tips from the Trading Post, and our car doctor will be on call to give advice on nursing sick cars back to health. But who's this week's lucky viewer? Well, it's Simon Holmes, who's 25 and works in the media industry. At the moment, Simon drives this T-Reg Ford Puma 1.7, but he's looking to upgrade and will spend up to £12,500 on a new car. Simon?
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you've got this Ford Puma at the moment.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with it. I mean, it handles really well. It's a really good car. But I've got a friend with a nearly 200 brake horsepower Honda. It's much quicker than this, and he likes scaring me on a regular basis. So I think it's about time I return the favour.
So you want something with a bit more punch?
Yeah, I mean, it handles really well, but just a bit more go.
So what ideally do you think you're looking for?
Well, something with around or approaching 200 brake horsepower, probably rear or four-wheel drive, and just looks reasonably nice, really. Well,
I think we've got three crackers for you today, and the first of those is this, Forbes Cougar. Now, of course, it's just actually finished production fairly recently because it was based on the old Mondeo, but, I mean, what do you make of this, first of all?
I think it's a nice car. When they first came out, I wasn't too keen on the looks, but with age, I think it's certainly grown on me.
I mean, it's quite big. Does that bother you at all?
No, not really. This is the 2.5 model with about 170, 180 brake, which is, I think, just about right to haul such a big car around. I wouldn't even consider the 2 litre because it just wouldn't be quick enough.
I mean, of course, it's got Ford's new edge design styling, so it's sort of very angular looks and all sharp lines and things. I mean, quite different from the Puma, although it's from the same sort of stable.
Yeah, you can see where it's moved on from the Puma. There's certainly a lot of design cues, the lights, the curve of the glass, but you can also tell that it was the halfway car between the Puma and the Focus. They're getting sharper, lines are more creased.
And a lot better than the Probe that this car replaced as well.
I wouldn't even consider the Probe in the first place, just because of the name. It's so gynecological. My friends wouldn't let me rest in the pub.
And I think this is pretty good value for money. It's an X-Reg, it's done a low mileage, and it's 11 grand for a 2.5 V6. Come and have a look at the second car that we've got. And it's the MGZS. Now, of course, underneath it's basically a Rover. I mean, it was the original 400, then it was the 45, and now, as far as MG is concerned, they've put it into the ZS. What do you make of it, first of all, Simon?
It's a Rover 400. It doesn't matter what they've done. They've put an old car in a new suit. You know, I couldn't go from a Puma, which I really like the look of, and I'm only moving up from because it's a bit slow for me now, to this. It's too middle-aged.
You're already not so keen on it.
It'll have to be a really good drive to change my mind.
You never know. I mean, it's practically a brand new car, this. It's only done 2,000 miles, but there's already a substantial saving on the new cost. I mean, this at the moment would cost somewhere around about £12,000, so it's probably slightly at the upper end of your budget. You remain to be convinced.
Yeah, it's the 400 bit. I'd never live it down.
Well, come and have a look at the third car, which might be more in keeping with what you're after.
Okay.
It's Nissan's very nice, very smart, stylish 200SX. What do you reckon to this?
Yeah, we like this a lot. This fits the bill, really. Got the right amount of power. Like you say, rear-wheel drive, fast car. Looks nice, yeah.
Now, this, I think, is an absolute bargain, when I tell you the price of this.
Yeah.
£25,000 new. It's a V-Reg, 3 years old, 25,000 miles, £9,600 for this.
Yeah, I mean, it's well within budget. As you say, somebody's lost a lot. I mean, 15 grand depreciation is beyond what I'd ever be willing to lose on a car.
Well, I think the most important thing with this car, and with all of the cars that we've got, is to get out and drive them.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite impressed by the cabin in this car. I mean, there is quite a lot of traditional black plastic, as you find on a lot of Japanese cars, but it actually looks quite well designed and put together.
Yeah, I think you'd have more of a problem if you were parting with 25 grand for the car. You'd say, you know, not as good as a BM, say, but if you're paying 9.6, you know, this is of a far superior quality to anything else you can get for the money. And if you compare it with my Puma, the dash has come straight from a Fiesta.
Absolutely.
So this is definitely a step up for me.
I mean, what about the way that the car drives? How does the power feel and the performance?
It goes. I mean, once you get over 3,000 revs and the turbo starts doing its thing, you run out of road before you run out of grunt.
The SXs have been around for quite a few years now. They were first launched this sort of second generation in 1994. So they've been around for a while. The end of these cars is nigh. So I think you can get some real good bargains. I mean, not only this car, but you know, if you didn't want to spend quite as much as this, you'd probably find a very nice car for 7 grand or so.
I get the impression that you rather like this motor, Simon, and perhaps it's the thought of all that extra oomph that appeals, and I kind of agree. Good news is, of course, with just about 25,500 miles on the clock, there is a whole lot of life left in this engine. Because Nissan may not be the most exciting and sporty of brands, but they do make cars and engines that last and last, even when they've got turbos. That turbo, of course, is just part of this motor's aggression, and another part is reflected in the image. The front end was extensively redesigned and I think pepped up to look a lot more aggressive, a bit macho and very sporty. Then there's inside. Well, I'm afraid brace for a bit of disappointment, Simon. Whereas your Puma looks quite sparky and exciting inside, there really is nothing to talk about in here. It's very bland, very plasticky, no ornamentation, not a single sporty touch. And another disappointment at the back. It may be a pretty massive motor, but well, it's well padded in the back seat, but unless all your friends have enormous backsides and tiny spindly legs to fit behind the front seats, it ain't gonna work. And then, despite being quite a big car, where your Puma has, well, a sort of deep and narrow boot, this has a very wide but very shallow boot. I think it will get your speakers in there, but not a lot else. The thing about the 200SX to me is Ford should have taken a much longer, closer look at this car when they were trying things like their ghastly Probe and then the Cougar that followed, because it does it right. It may be a little bit traditional, it's rear-wheel drive and a bit medallion man and a bit wah, but that's what this sector is. That's exactly what it's here for. If you want small, sensible and very much modern design type feel, you'd stick with your Puma. You want something a bit wah, and that's exactly what the 200SX is.
So there we are, Nissan 200SX. Simon, what do you reckon to that?
Fantastic.
You like that, don't you?
Right, man. Yeah, the right amount of power, going to the right wheels, leather interior, great.
It's a sharp handling car, and I think it's a bargain as well. I mean, £9,600 is actually the cheapest of the three we've got on offer today.
Yeah, a couple of grand left in the bank, not bad.
Marvellous, can't beat it. Well, you get a chance to drive both the MG and the Ford Cougar soon, but let's head off to the surgery, and here's our car doctor, Simon Hughes.
Well, we've got a classic fuel injection Ford problem here. We're using a Sierra Cosworth to show this, but very common on some Fords with fuel injection is that if there's no reason at all, they'll suddenly stop. And this usually follows maybe going over some speed bumps or maybe changing your spare wheel and popping your spare wheel in the boot. The problem is this, if you have a look in here, in this case, right in the centre of the spare wheel well, we've got the fuel cut-off switch, which is there in case of an accident, an impact at the back. This little box here is triggered and it turns the fuel off to the engine to hopefully stop a fire. But what can happen is if your spare wheel isn't fastened incorrectly, or if you've changed it a bit clumsily, it can sort of bang up and down inside. It simply triggers it and your engine will stop. Now this can really fox some owners because they'll have to call out a garage, and obviously maybe an unscrupulous garage could maybe take you to the cleaners in maybe selling you a lengthy repair. But in reality, all it needs is quite simply that button resetting like that, and your car will start up again.
Thanks, Simon. The Car Doctor will be back at the same time next week here on Used Car Heaven. Now, on this week's programme, we're looking for a new car for our viewer, Simon Holmes, who's 25. He's in the media industry and he currently drives a Ford Puma. He's already driven the Nissan 200SX, but what else have we got for him on this week's programme? Well, we've also got a Ford Cougar, and here's Richard Hammond with a lowdown on the Cougar.
Oh dear. Remember when you were a kid and you used to build an oil rig out of cereal packets and loo roll tubes? Well, mine looked exactly like this, only it was built slightly better and probably looks slightly better even now. But you were worried about your speaker space. Look at this boot in a coupe. You'd get stadium kit in there. But hold on, if we're going to start judging a coupe according to boot space and rear seat accommodation, there's something wrong. Buy an estate car. And here's a worrying point. It's got a tow ball on a coupe. Isn't that a bit like buying a scooter with bull bars or trying to fit a roof rack to a soft top? The thing about the Cougar to me is, looking at it, do you not get the impression that somebody somewhere in Ford was trying just a little bit too hard to please their boss when they designed it? I mean, look, yeah, nice one, Dave. Now make me one that looks pretty. This ridiculous idiot grin. Does anybody really want a sports car that when you open the garage door is there? I go fast, me. Nasty. And it seems like the world would agree because last year Ford sold one. And if that was you, it's so bad, they've killed it off completely. And frankly, I agree with them. I'm sorry, Cougar, you were never any good. Good riddance.
Well, Simon, I guess you already like Ford cars because you've got the Puma at the moment. I mean, how different do you think this Cougar is?
Just, you know, driving it round corners, you can feel the mass moving from side to side. And the long wheelbase, of course, means it isn't as nimble, but it's, you know, it still feels good on the road.
It's got a nice 2.5 V6 engine, it's 170 brake horsepower, so I mean, it's a pretty quick car, this, isn't it? Now, this car's only done 14,000 miles. It is the 2.5 V6, so it's the top of the range, and there's only two cars in the Cougar range anyway, the 2 litre and this 2.5. I'd certainly wouldn't go for a 2 litre, that's for sure, because it's just too underpowered. But I mean, when you think that this car was somewhere around 22 grand when it was new,
yeah,
I'm not so sure I'd want to spend that sort of money on this, would you?
well, with this sort of car, you do suffer depreciation, and somebody's lost, what, 11 grand?
Big time.
In 14,000 miles of motoring, which is just obscene. You know, most people wouldn't spend that much on the car in the first place, and they might just lose it. So somebody like myself is in a good position to buy a new car with leather, it's got electric adjustable seats, aircon, power steering, traction control. You know, it's a nice looking car. So you can really, well, show off a bit really.
For 11 grand?
Yeah, for 11 grand.
Good value for money. Right, Simon, so there we go. Ford's now demised Cougar Coupe. What do you reckon to that?
Not terribly sad they've stopped making it, although it is a good car.
It's reasonable, isn't it?
Yeah, nice to drive, great 2.5 engine.
Lovely fruity engine.
Yeah, nice and raspy. Even looks good, but the Nissan has got it pretty much beaten on everything, really.
I think you're edging towards that 200SX, aren't you?
Just a tad, yes.
All right, well, you get a chance to drive the MG in part 2 of the programme, and that's all coming up very soon here on Used Car Heaven. Hi and welcome back to part 2 of Used Car Heaven, the programme that works really hard to find the right cars for you. And on this week's programme, we're finding the right cars for Simon Holmes. He'll get a chance to drive the MGZS soon, but Richard Hammond has come up with an alternative suggestion to the 3 cars that we've put forward.
Thank you, Ian. Now, very often, our alternative suggestions are a little bit wild and wacky and weird, but this week, if I'm honest, it's rather boring. It's a classic 4-door saloon with a boot, but there's a very good reason for me suggesting it, and it's summed up rather neatly here, with this little blue and white propeller. Because it's very easy when you're looking around to buy a car to get stuck in a rut. You only look at motors in a very narrow class of the whole market, and then you start to miss stuff that might do the job for you very well. For instance, this may not be a classic sports car, but is a BMW, and everybody knows BMWs are sporty. I mean, they do call them the driving machine after all. For your kind of money, you could get something like this. It's an R-plated 323i. That means you get the lovely 2.3 litre injection engine, so that's loads of power. Thank you, Mr. BMW. And remember, it's rear-wheel drive as well, of course, just like the Nissan 200SX, which is great for driving and sporty fun. But unlike both the Nissan and the Ford Cougar, the interior is not built from old egg boxes. It feels like it's been carved from one lump of stone. It'll probably outlast you. And stylishly, well, it's kind of sombre, discreet, and every inch a BMW. For your kind of money, the car's going to have, what, 40, 50,000 miles? That's nothing in a BMW. It'll do that 2, 3, 4 times over and still be working fine. And more importantly, when you come to sell it a few years down the road, it'll still have some value. It'll still be worth a couple of quid, hopefully. You see, the thing is, I'm trying to be a bit clever. I'm trying to do something rather neat. What I'm trying to do is satisfy all of your criteria, but do it a little bit differently. Sum it up. The BMW 3 Series is a BMW. Therefore, your image is perfectly satisfied. Nobody's going to laugh at you for driving a Beamer. It looks and feels good. It's got status, class, and street cred. So we've got to see how it measures up to the MG. For instance, the build quality in here, fantastic. What'll it be like in the MG? It's up to you.
Thanks, Richard, for this week's alternative car, but will Simon like that one? Well, we'll find out towards the end of the programme. But now it's time for him to drive our third car, and it's this, the MGZS. Now this is the 120 version. It's perhaps a little underpowered to what you're after, 115 brake, but there is a more powerful version of this if you like this car. Do you?
Am I allowed to swear?
No.
Right, in that case, I do not like this car. You can see that underneath all this shiny metallic plastic.
Yeah, they've got rid of all the fake wood that they used to have and sort of put this grey plastic dash instead, haven't they?
And the knobbly leatherette gear knob, which has come off in my hand once, I could probably pull off again.
Yes.
Lies a car from the 1980s, really.
No.
Now they've put a spoiler on the back. It says, "Look at me," but every boy racer or car enthusiast that knows his salt would just know that this is a warmed up, you know, last night's meal, really.
And now here's Richard Hammond with a lowdown on the MG.
The world is insane, and this is proof. I mean, here we are, looking for a car for a young roister-doister to stick his speakers in and hoon around town, and one of them is based on the most dedicated chariot for trundling the over 95s between the library and the tea shop at under 20 miles an hour. But hey, that's life. Now, I know you're not exactly felled by love for this machine, but I'd like you to just give it some consideration. Yes, you're right. It is a tarted up Rover 45. It is bedecked with spoilers and skirts and chicken wire grills and frowny headlamps, but at least it has the courage to strike an image. Whether or not that image is for you is a different point entirely. And yes, you're right when you say it is trading on the MG badge, but think about it. What is a car manufacturer but a badge after all? I mean, don't tell me you really think the new Mini has anything in common with the old one, or a new Bentley anything in common with an old one. They don't, it's just a badge. Inside, though, oh, look, Mabel, they've really spruced it up. It's dead sporty. Well, yes, it is. It still rubs and squeaks and rattles a little bit in here, but again, at least they're trying, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. I've got a bit of a soft spot for this, because at least these guys are trying to rescue something from the wreckage of Rover, and for that, I admire them, and I feel we've got to give them a chance, haven't we? Really. I've also got to take issue with you on your point about it being all show and no go, because I disagree. It may not be a razor-edge Japanese hot hatch, but it has got some go, and it's actually quite a nice car to drive pretty rapidly on the country roads. But hey, it's your decision. You're the one that's going to have to be driving it and being seen in it.
So Simon, Rover have tried desperately to update their image and come up with a sporty new look, I suppose to appeal to your sort of age group, really, to be honest. Does this MG do it for you?
I want to like this car. I do. I want Rover to succeed, but they won't succeed if they keep doing this. It's more of a granddad's car. MG now is a mark that is so past it anyway.
It doesn't mean anything.
The MGFs fell to bits. The new version will probably be better, but looks completely different. This is just a rehash of an old car.
It's a shame, isn't it?
It is a shame, because I really, really want to like this car, and I want Rover to succeed so they'll make decent cars again, but not this one.
All right, we'll have your final verdict on all three cars coming up soon, Simon. But before that, let's get some more insider tips from the Trading Post.
This week I'm going to be talking about a BMW 3 Series Cabriolet. Very desirable little car, very strong residual values. Engine size ranging from 1.8 to 3 litre plus. The bigger the better, really, depending on your budget. One thing that is very important when you're buying a Cabriolet is the condition of the hood. BMWs on the whole tend to be exceptional quality, so sometimes it's not an issue, but it's always better to check. Check for rips and tears in the hood. Also check the operation of the hood, whether it's manual, whether it's electric. Don't be put off by the vendor telling you that the hood condition is excellent. Always physically check it yourself. A good option on a Cabriolet hood is to have a glass rear screen. Plastic screens tend to scratch a lot more and also need replacing. Options on a Cabriolet are very, very important. In the interior, leather is always a very good option. It's always waterproof as well. Check the condition of the leather. If you look at this one in particular, there is a bit of wear on it there, which shows a bit of misuse. Can be repaired very, very easily and very, very cheaply. People in the job tend to do what we call colonize the leather, which actually makes it look brand new, prices range from £50 to £100 depending on the size of the actual wear and tear, if you like. Once again, specification is very, very important with a cabriolet, especially BMW. The higher the better again. Things like satellite navigation, park distance control, leather, as I've suggested, big alloys, things like that make the car more resaleable. Colours of the car is always a good thing as well. This, I have to say, is not my favourite colour, but it is a personal opinion. It's down to your own individual choice. Silver and black are, on the whole, the best sellers. Remember as well, when you're buying a cabriolet, it's a very, very seasonal purchase. If you want to buy one, it's always better to buy it in the winter. Prices tend to come down, and sell in the spring when the car becomes more desirable.
And there'll be more insider tips on the Trading Post at the same time next week here on Used Car Heaven. But now it's that all-important time of the programme. It's decision time for you, Simon.
Yeah.
And what have you put in third place? It's the MG.
It's the MG. Nice real shame about the face, really. It's a bit of a dog's dinner. It's an old woman with a facelift.
Thumbs down to the MG. In second place, you put the Ford Cougar.
The Cougar, yeah. I mean, I've got to stick up for Ford somewhere in this selection. You know it's related to the Puma, you can tell that when you drive. It goes around corners well, but it's a bit big, a bit heavy, a bit lardy.
A bit soggy, isn't it?
A bit soggy,
so,
yeah.
Sort of middling. Which means in first place you put the Nissan 200 SX.
Yeah, great car, great engine, looks aggressive, messed about with the tail, wheel spin,
200
brilliant.
brake horsepower, turbocharged, fantastic.
Great car.
It's the cheapest of the one as well, £9,600 for that.
It is, it's a bargain,
Absolute
really.
bargain. Simon, thanks very much for your time today. That's it for this week's Used Car Heaven. Join us again at the same time next week.